Most people talk about the surface level components of a relationship: honesty, trust, loyalty, effective communication, right? Really important pieces. Surface level doesn't mean not significant, but it's the deep seated values that get overlooked that is the real foundation that upholds these components. Because it's not the components themselves, it's your relationship to them. So I'm going to give you the 5 most underrated values you need in order to have a healthy relationship. But right before I jump into these values that you need, let's make sure we're on the same page about what values actually are. Your values are a compilation of your principles and your morals that govern the way you live, right? They're the things that allow you to get up and feel good about the person you are every day. They're things that gives you a sense of right and wrong and to feel justified in a certain action you take or something that you don't take. They're the things that help you keep yourself on the right straightened path to not do things that you would kick yourself about and get down and feel depressed and feel like you're a horrible person and don't feel like you deserve love and all those things, right? They help you operate in alignment for how you self-identify. So the thing that's so crucial to that is it's about how well built those values are that dictate so much of the experience you'll have when trying to execute effective communication, when trying to be loyal, when trying to be honest, when trying to build trust. And to give you a quick example, if you maybe have principles that don't serve you necessarily, in the sense of, let's say someone goes and offends you, it says something that pisses you off and makes you upset, and you live by a principle that says, hey, if they offend you or, violate a boundary or something like that, instantaneously, I'm not talking to that person anymore. Throw the whole person away. Stay away from me because you upset me or you hurt me or whatever the case is. Now, you could be operating in the sense that says, oh, that was good for me, good for my mental, physical, emotional well-being. I'm protecting myself. But what happens when it gets applied to your significant other, someone maybe you've married, or a relative that's really close to you your whole life, and you don't want to be distanced from either of them, and they happen to do something that violates a boundary for you or makes you feel away? If you live by a principle that says, I just stop talking to them altogether, then now you're just throwing away a relationship you really value beyond that moment because you haven't wired yourself to have principles that says, okay, it's not okay for them just to do things that violates my boundaries and piss me off, but I'll address the situation. I'll talk through it with them, get on a space of understanding and work through it to have resolve to where I'm dealing with them violate my boundary. I'm not letting it go. I'm not just like sitting there and letting it rob my peace, but I'm also still keeping the person in my life and finding resolve for the issue I have with them. Big difference. All right. I don't know if you guys are ready for this first one, but I'm going to just rip the Band-Aid off with it. The first value you need to cultivate inside of yourself and have cultivated in the relationship that a lot of people struggle with is accountability. Without it, nothing gets better, and you can grow if you don't or can't own your ish, right? Most relationships don't fail or fall apart because of the mistakes and, the missteps that people take or have with their partners or their partner makes or whatever. It's the consistent blame shifting, finger pointing, defensiveness, not just owning your part that really does it, because that's the thing that puts the fuel to the fire of arguments, right? And usually a difference of opinion or a conflict or a debate becomes an argument in a relationship whenever one or both people are not just owning their piece of it that the other person's offended by. And then what happens? Your partner gets upset and they start doubling down on wanting to be heard because they're not feeling heard because you're not owning up to your thing that probably impacted them emotionally. So now they're emotionally charged and you're dismissing how they feel. And you're telling them what they feel is just wrong and they shouldn't feel it, or all the things are going on to where they start getting the communication to themselves that, I got to fight here because they're not owning their stuff. And it makes them feel violated, offended, makes them feel like you're trying to be, holier than thou and like you're perfect and they're the problem, and all these things happen. And that's what starts to slowly erode a relationship. It starts to tear down the trust. break apart the reassurance and security that you can come to your partner and be heard, and they're going to, make adjustments, and they're willing to grow and work on their faults and flaws to help accommodate your needs like you're willing to do for them, and vice versa. So what I want you to start doing with your partner is having once a week check-ins where both of you comes to the table and shares at least one thing that you could and are going to work on getting better at, or doing better without being prompted to. Doesn't count as much if it's something your partner has to always keep telling you to do and keep reminding you to do. It's great if you can take accountability and say, oh yeah, thanks for reminding me. I'm sorry about that. I'll get back on top of it. That's great. But no, this should be a proactive thing on your end. So once a week, come to the table with your partner, say, hey, here's what I think I can work on and what I'm going to work on. Here's what I'm going to do, without them having to say to you and tell you, and hold them accountable to do the same thing in return, right? To where you're both working towards growth, towards the success of your relationship. Because it's this value and this application of that builds emotional maturity, trust, and self-awareness, which are all three key crucial components that you need to have for a relationship to be successful on your end, and your partner needs to have themselves to make it successful on their end. The second value you need is curiosity. When curiosity dies, so does connection. Most couples stop learning about each other at some point because they feel like I know everything there is to know. So they stop having that curious, playful energy to the situation, right? And you have to think to yourself, how can you continue to grow together if you're not interested in each other anymore, right? How can you keep taking it to the next level if you're not still seeking more to know and evolve with your partner on, right? Meaning learning them on different levels and different ways you never had before. If you just feel like you know it all at this point and you just kind of phone it in, then so does the spark starts to die in the relationship. The thing that makes people head over heels and in the honeymoon phase in the beginning with someone is this new, fresh car smell experience, right? This new person, new things to learn. They're so exciting. You're enjoying them so much. And it's just so, captivating. Has you on the edge of your seat. Can't wait to see what happens next. What do I learn next about this person, right? Spontaneity, right? See, it's not enough just to have spontaneity in your lives together where you just do fun and new stuff and exciting things and you go and have new experiences together. It's also finding something new in your partner that just keeps you in that space of admiration towards them. Keep just being in awe by them, never cease to be amazed by them, right? Keeping that is very crucial to keeping the spark alive romantically. So what I want you to do is start asking your partner, or start asking each other, deep or playful questions weekly. Something like, what's something you never told me before? Or if we could start over, what would you do differently? Right? Make it fun. You have to make discovery a lifestyle. Weave it into your interactions. Make it a part of just the experience that is you and your partner. When it's a regular practice, it doesn't feel like you have to be so intentional and have to be so conscious of working it in like another chore. Make it something that you're excited to do, and it's just a casual part of your way of living with your partner. Now, the third and very important value is discipline, right? Remember, love is a feeling, but relationship success is a decision from a choice you make. It's something you decide on. And discipline is the glue that empowers and helps you to continue to make the decision to show up in your relationship daily, even when you don't want to, even when you're not in the mood, even whenever your partner is the last person you want to see and look at because they made you so upset or frustrated or whatever. It's you staying disciplined to your decision you made way back when to be committed to your partner and keep showing up no matter what. Because the only thing that will ever improve your relationship and make it better or keep it sustainably happy and awesome as it is you and your partner both choosing to show up as the best version of yourselves to keep doing what you need to for the relationship and for yourselves daily. So I want you to set rituals you commit to, like no phone dinner nights or 10-minute debriefs after conflict. That's a good one, right? To where you give it 10 minutes for you guys to cool off more, and now even have a final touch point to make sure you're on the same page and that you guys are good and that it's still love at the end of the day to move forward with, right? It's a great practice after you go through a heated debate or even an argument, right? And even doing something like emotional check-ins, commit to that monthly, right? That one day a month you check to see, hey, what's the temperature at with us feelings wise here? Are we good? Are we in a good space? What do you need from me? What could I use from you? Right? Where are we sitting at? Because at the end of the day, the only metric that truly matters in your relationship is whether you're happy or not, right? You and your partner both. And that's going to be heavily and pretty much 100% dictated by how you feel. If you don't feel good in your relationship, you're not going to be happy in your relationship, no matter what the optics look like on the surface or the dynamic actually is. And so the point in case for this value is where love is very essential and very important, right? But it is still a feeling. It is a very important feeling because it is the sauce, the juice that fuels the whole system that is your relationship and your drive towards your relationship. But it's the discipline that keeps you locked in and engaged to keep showing up to do what's necessary to keep that love alive in the best way possible. So never forget, consistency is greater than intensity. Because yeah, you can have flashes in the pan of being inspired and feeling all super excited about your partner because something they did or something you saw or something that happened, and now you're putting your best foot forward. But if you're not disciplined towards continuing to choose that day in and day out, then when you need it most, in the moments where things don't feel so lovey-dovey, it's going to be hard to actually maintain the love in a relationship without the consistency and the habit building, the muscle building to be able to do that whenever it's toughest too. Fourth, adaptability. Life changes and so do people. They evolve, right? The couples who last aren't the ones who stay the same and hold on to things always being exactly the way it was in the beginning. They're the ones that welcome growth in a sense of evolution of not only life and the things they do together with their partner, but who their partner becomes and who they become. And are more focused on trying to evolve together, right? Meaning they're continuously and consistently coming up with ways to have shared growth, things that they go into the next season looking optimistically towards and looking excitedly towards. Okay, hey, how can we show up differently in this season since this is where we are, right? The couples that really do well with growing old together and going the long distance are those that offer way more space for their partner to evolve and be whoever they're designed to be, just like themselves, and learn how to work with who that individual is. So with each season that you're in, and you know whenever you're coming to a new season in your relationship, when things feel like they're changing or they're a little different than they usually are or how they've always been, or you notice it's not the same really. That's that self-awareness. So when you recognize the season is changing, get in the habit of asking, how can we support each other best through this time period or where we are today? Or how can I support you best? And have them hopefully ask the same, or at least offer, hey, here's how I can be supported best through this season. Whenever you weave in the dialogue and the intentionality towards expecting evolution, expecting change, and just asking a simple question of, how can we do this most effectively? How can I be a contribution to you in this and you to me? And how can we do this for each other? Then now you weave in the fabric of your relationship evolution. It makes it a comfortable, more natural part of your relationship that you grow with instead of trying to resist and fight. And fifth, compassion over control. I can't stress this one enough, right? Trying to make someone be who you want them to be will just kill the connection, and it'll kill your peace and happiness in the process, right? But compassion, that makes someone feel safe and secure enough to open up and grow, not to feel punished for falling short, which is a huge difference in the experience you'll get from your partner. The more someone feels heard, seen, fully embraced, and accepted for who they are as they are, right where they stand, right? Because the world around us and all the people out there and societal things and everything else, That's already enough pressure, and they judge us time in and time out, day in and day out. Around every corner, someone or something is judging you, right? So whenever you have that one person in your life, at the very least, being in your partner, the one that you invest all of your emotions into and all of your emotional security and all the things you kind of rely on them to be a contribution towards, when you invest in that person, you want that person to be the one that you can let your hair down with the most and be embraced by them the best, right? So whenever you offer that to someone, then now they naturally in return start to take on the role of being inspired by you and want to step up and be better for you, and which will most likely help towards them being whoever you may even want them to be in the areas that they can grow in, right? People need full acceptance and embrace to want to work with us towards being better versus feeling condemned and punished and judged to have to do so, right? And notice I didn't say that just because you're embracing and accepting them full for who they are and where they are at right now, that doesn't mean you have to settle for that either, though, right? You can still accept them, love them fully. Don't, give them an experience that's different than if they are already this version that you would prefer, but you embrace them and then you still encourage them. You still hold them accountable. You still push them to grow, right? You don't just accept that that's what they're going to be. You don't let them sit in complacency, but you embrace them for where they are today. So in moments of frustration, I want you to ask yourself this and make a consistent habit of this. Am I trying to control this or understand it / them, right? The situation or them. Am I trying to control it or am I trying to understand it? And the little 3-step thing I want you to do when you try to execute this is, first, take what I call as a passion pause. Literally say to yourself, passion pause, because usually because we're so passionate about things is where we get emotionally charged the most. So catch yourself, give yourself a beat, passion pause. Then breathe. Take a few deep breaths to let yourself regulate and calm down. Then respond with empathy, not dominance. Meaning, think of them in a space or a framework of understanding, trying to understand, put yourself in their shoes. And if you were them, and you wanted to always do the best and not be a part of the problem, what would you be doing? Or why would you be doing what you're doing right now? Why would you be struggling maybe to do it the way that's probably most beneficial? Because if people knew better, they would do better. All right. You know how the cliche goes, the saying, and that's true. People usually fail to do better when they don't really know better. A lot of people think they know better, and they think they know better because they understand some things better than others. Sometimes they can comprehend, they have the information in their mind, but application is king, right? You can tell me all to the cows come home about the things that you understand and the knowledge you have in your head, but until it's applied to your life, then you're not reflecting what you know, you're reflecting what you can just comprehend. Because if you knew it, why would you not be doing it? If you knew in your fibers the reality and the result that was going to get you and it benefits you to go do that thing, why would you not be doing it unless you don't fully believe it in your vessel as much as you understand it in your temple, in your head? See, most people are so overly focused on finding the right person. And I get it. Yes, you need to find a person that fits you best. But the real success in relationships, totality wise, is in your ability to be the right person and how you can show up day in and day out for your relationship. Because even if you find yourself in a relationship with someone that maybe is not the ideal fit for you, you can significantly turn around and inspire them to grow in ways you never could have imagined, to where they'll wind up leveling up and stepping up to match your standards and being that everything for you that you want them to be by how you show up to influence them. People undercut their ability to manifest and create. We're creators, and we give so much of our power away to the world around us and the people that come our way. And we feel, the answer is I got to go find better and this, that, and the third. But when you are better, you attract better and you can show up better and you can influence and inspire better, which in turn people wind up being better for you, right? And it's all dictated by how you show up in the center. I don't know about you, but just saying that out loud sounds very empowering to me, right? Empower yourself to dictate as much of your results you can get as possible. In this world where we control very little ourselves, what you can control is the experience that you create, and therefore what's attracted to you and stays around you because of the experiences you create in the center. So if you haven't started already, get to cultivating these 5 values in your life as heavily wired to yourself as possible and into your relationship as a byproduct, so you can see the results that you deserve and really want to have, like we all do, to be happy. If you need help on how to build the skills and the tools to cultivating these values into your system and into your relationship so it can thrive and you can thrive as well, email or DM me the word coaching and we will get to work, as long as you're truly ready to put that work in. Let's get it.